This jar, La Mer's Crème de la Mer, costs $380. This bottle, SK2's famous facial treatment essence, $185. And this tiny cream, La Prairie's Skin Caviar Luxe Cream, a jaw-dropping $550. The promises? Ageless skin, radiance, eternal youth in a jar. But here's the real question. What do you actually get for those hundreds of dollars? Some breakthrough molecule only billionaires can buy? Or the same basic ingredients you'd find in a $30 drugstore cream, just hidden behind fancy packaging and a fairy tale story? Today, we're pulling back the velvet curtain on La Mer, SK2, and La Prairie, and exposing how luxury skincare became one of the biggest scams in beauty. This is Skincare Evidence, science-first reviews and investigative documentary, fact-checking brand claims, busting industry myths, and unpacking trends with data, clinical studies, and price sanity. Science over slogans. Hit subscribe, because the beauty industry doesn't want you here, and that's exactly why you should be. To understand the scam, follow the money. The global skincare industry is worth over $100 billion. But here's the kicker. Luxury skincare, those shiny jars sitting in department stores, makes up just 1/5 of that market. And yet it's growing faster than the rest. Why? Because the profit margins are enormous. Companies like Estée Lauder and L'Oreal rake in margins above 70% on these luxury lines. Let's be blunt. The real miracle of La Mer or La Prairie isn't in your skin. It's in their earnings reports. And every time you drop hundreds on a cream, you're not buying youth. You're buying shareholder dividends, plus a very expensive jar. Let's start with the king of luxury skincare, La Mer's Crème de la Mer. Price tag? $380 for 60 milliliters. The story? A NASA scientist burned in a lab accident spent 12 years and 6,000 experiments creating a so-called miracle broth from sea kelp. That broth, they claim, has near magical healing powers.
With La Mer's mysterious creator, Dr. Max Huber. Dr. Huber was apparently working as an aerospace physicist in California, where he was allegedly involved in a lab accident whilst working on like a rocket stabilizer, and this was at some point during the 1950s. After the accident, he tried every skincare product he could find on the market, try and help heal himself. This is when he decided he's gonna invent the cure for himself. And at the core of Huber's experimentations was what now we know to be the creation of the trademarked miracle broth. And with that, La Mer's iconic hero first product was born. Huber decided to name this Crème de la Mer, which translates to cream of the sea.
Sounds impressive until you flip the jar around. Mineral oil, petrolatum, algae extract, a few humectants. Nothing you can't find in creams a fraction of the price. Independent, peer-reviewed trials proving La Mer reduces wrinkles or reverses aging? None. Zero. Now compare it with CeraVe Moisturizing Cream. $20 for a massive tub, packed with ceramides, hyaluronic acid, and cholesterol. These aren't fairy tales. They're backed by multiple peer-reviewed dermatology studies showing improved barrier repair and hydration. Or Eucerin Advanced Repair Cream. $15 with ceramides plus urea. And urea has randomized controlled trials proving it hydrates and smooths skin texture. So what's the difference? La Mer sells you a broth and a myth. CeraVe and Eucerin sell you proven science. At 1/20th the price. Next, the cult classic from Japan. SK2's Facial Treatment Essence. $185 for a watery liquid that looks like toner. Their miracle? Pitera, which was discovered, they say, when sake brewers' hands stayed smooth and youthful after years of working with fermentation vats. Pitera is just a yeast ferment filtrate. Yes, it can hydrate. Yes, it may have antioxidant effects. But here's the catch. SK2 has never published independent peer-reviewed clinical trials proving Pitera is superior to any other ferment. Their science usually comes down to brand-sponsored trials where participants say their skin looked brighter after 4 weeks. Meanwhile, Caviar Galactomyces essence costs $20 and contains 95% of the exact same ferment. And Mishra's Time Revolution essence is $35, with bifida ferment lysate plus yeast extracts, ingredients with published evidence of barrier repair and hydration benefits. The difference? SK2 bottles a nice story about brewers' hands and sells it for nearly $200. Caviar X and Mishra give you ferments with the same science, at a fraction of the cost. And now, let's talk about Switzerland's crown jewel, La Prairie's Skin Caviar Luxe Cream. Price tag? $550 for just 50 milliliters. The story? This cream is infused with precious caviar extract, promising firmer, lifted, more youthful skin. Sounds decadent, right? But here's the problem. Caviar is great on toast points, not in your moisturizer. The science? Caviar does contain proteins and omega fatty acids, but there are no independent, peer-reviewed clinical trials proving that caviar extract reverses aging or stimulates collagen better than standard peptides or ceramides. Now let's compare. For under $40, the ordinary buffet plus copper peptides serum delivers multiple peptides clinically shown to improve elasticity and reduce fine lines. Or Olay Regenerist Microsculpting Cream, about $35, with niacinamide and peptides backed by published dermatology studies proving real wrinkle reduction and barrier repair. So what's the difference? Olay and the Ordinary sell you peptides with hard science, at less than 1/10 the cost. So if La Mer is mineral oil, then why do millions of people still hand over hundreds of dollars? The answer isn't science, it's psychology. Luxury skincare doesn't sell ingredients, it sells myths and membership. The miracle broth legend, the brewer's hand story, the caviar fantasy. These tales are sticky because they give buyers a sense of exclusivity, of being part of a secret club. And then there's status signaling. A jar of La Mer on your bathroom shelf says something very different than a tub of CeraVe, even if your skin can't tell the difference. Add in the halo of couture brands like Dior, Chanel, and Guerlain. And suddenly, skincare becomes less about dermatology and more about identity. That's why luxury skincare is booming. Not because the science is better, but because the stories are seductive and the markup is addictive. So here's the truth. The real luxury of La Mer SK2 and La Prairie isn't in the jar. It's in the shareholder reports of Estée Lauder, Procter & Gamble, and Beiersdorf. The real luxury? Knowing the science. Knowing you can get ceramides, peptides, niacinamide, all ingredients with peer-reviewed evidence for a fraction of the price. And this is just the beginning, because in upcoming videos, we'll take you brand by brand, from La Mer's Miracle Broth to SK2's Pitera Myth to La Prairie's Caviar Fantasy, and expose exactly how these billion-dollar stories were built. This is skincare evidence, where marketing myths go to die. Subscribe now, and don't let your wallet be the next victim.